Hello everybody. Before we start the video, I want to explain a little bit of things before we get into it. So due to many setbacks IRL and the very limited time that I have left to submit this video in the contest, this video unfortunately is not a 100% representation of what I originally intended to create. However, I will make a full-blown video covering a lot more aspects of the story. But for now, I guess you guys will just have to settle with the shortened version that only really focuses on the very main things, but the longer version will actually focus on a little bit more of the nitty gritty details of how things slowly start adding up and piecing together in the overarching story. So the reason why I'm making this video today is because I want to actually focus on a certain aspect in the game's story. A particular chapter that the creators over at Kuro actually did a pretty good job. And I want to highlight this part of the story in hopes that maybe more people might actually give this game a chance and come along for the ride. And the main reason why I care is because, as a writer myself, it's very difficult to actually find games or other media that actually write something cohesive, something engaging, something that actually hooks you in, at least for me personally. So without further ado, allow me to highlight the reasons why I liked the Kowloong chapter in Punishing Grey Raven. Enjoy! So starting at the very tail end of the Ouroboros chapter, our team gets to rest and discuss on what to do next. Hoyakusu, along with Big Boss, were not actually the real creations. They were just copies. The real Big Boss and Hoyakusu are actually in Outer Heaven, which is called Kowloong. After defeating the copies, the Niter was set to transport everybody back to Kowloong. And after a short trip, they saw it. A megastructure that was piercing the skies above. Could it be the World Spiral Tree? Perhaps the Tower of God? No, it was in fact the Kowloong Corporation. With an ominous, yet mystical appearance the city gave off. What held within the city walls was an event that will push our heroes to their limits, and will forever leave a lasting mark going forward. Shortly after docking at the harbor and gazing upon the city walls, the team notices something sparkling in the sky. Lee quickly determines that it is in fact a light barrier, keeping the tower safe, but they cannot gauge its full capabilities at this distance. While the rest of the city outside of the light barrier is completely engulfed in a signal jammer, making communication between Babylonia and other team members very difficult. The crew aboard the Niter offer to help our team get inside, as they are citizens of Kowloong and know their way around. Shortly after entering within the city walls, the team quickly realizes the section that they are in is a type of shopping area. However, there is nobody around. Kamui suggests that they were too late and that the corrupted have already arrived. However, Lee squashes that thought, explaining that if the corrupted were actually there, the city would have been torn apart. The team is quickly interrupted by somebody on the intercom. They gaze up to find Q, or at least the real Q. She explains that the person that they thought was Q aboard the Niter was actually someone named Viller, who impersonated Q and took a copy of Huyakusu with him. A bit further into the conversation, Hassan tries to warn Q about the impending threat that the corrupted are coming to the city in hopes to steal Huyakusu that was revealed to us as a program called Gestalt. And it uses the same code and functionality as the current Gestalt system Babylonia uses in order to keep everything afloat and keep humanity alive. Should that system fall upon the hands of the Ascendants, they will have the same coding and architecture that can allow them an easier time hacking into the Gestalt program in Babylonia, so it's imperative they keep it away from them at all costs. And they'll have better odds at defeating them if they join forces. However, Q rejects the proposal and states that they don't need any help from outsiders, that Kowloong will handle its own problems and defeat the Ascendants their way. Shortly after, an alarm is raised, and the team is attacked by Kowloong guards, which forces them to retreat and rethink a new strategy moving forward. Now, once again, I'm going to have to explain that I am skipping over a lot of details, but I will get back to them in the follow-up video, which goes over the entire story. Hassan orders reinforcements to gather up at the city outskirts, where they establish a safe perimeter for them to do so. The situation is not looking good. Not only is there an army of corrupted, along with the Ascendants heading towards Kowloong, but Kowloong themselves are not willing to help. While supplies and reinforcements are still coming in, Grey Raven is seen mingling with some of the other squads, talking about the current events, until a familiar person interjects.
The Queen has returned.
The Queen is back, my brothers.
The Queen.
The Queen, my brothers.
The Queen!
The Queen has returned, my brothers.
We missed you, my Queen!
The Queen has returned. My Queen has returned.
Vera comes over to tell Lucia that there's something special being made for her. To no response. Lee tells Vera to beat it and laments about how anyone could work with someone like her.
Be gone, fucks!
So the war is well underway, with Babylonia seemingly fighting two battles at once, one with the corrupted and one with the Kowloong guards themselves. We take a quick look at a team that is about to be overrun by the corrupted, but are seemingly saved last minute. The team is seemingly saved by a lone construct going by the name of Bridget, who happens to be the leader of the support force. The team is baffled that the support force has such a powerful construct on their side, because when you think of the word support force, you think of like a backup crew that's there to just kind of maintain the line, or provide medical support. You don't really expect powerhouses to be among the ranks that are good lord! Damn! Man, I think I'm gonna need some support. You know how hard BP3 is without luminance? I'm gonna need some big support after that ass whooping. Please, Kuro, please, just send us the support force. I need it. Help our brother out, please. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. So anyway, Bridget patches them up and sends them on their way. They get word about Grey Raven and some other teams meeting up at an interception point, and they're off to go give them support as well. Please, for the love of God, don't die. Moving our attention back at Grey Raven, Lucia is engaging with battle with Alpha, who she still can't manage to defeat. The difference between power and skill between them is far too great for Lucia to handle. Amidst the fight, Lucia comes to the realization that Alpha is indeed Lucia, or at least the original Lucia, and that she herself is just a mere copy of her. To which the revelation surprises Lee and Liv. However, it surprises none of us, the players, because Alpha shares the same goddamn interlude as Lucia. So, yeah, all subtlety and speculation went out the window the moment Alpha came out. Lucia unfortunately loses the fight between her and Alpha. However, Alpha intends on killing Lucia, and with dozens of cuts barraging Lucia, she falls to the ground, but is caught by Commandant. Her injuries are so bad that her torso is actually split in half, and Lucia dies. Just kidding, she's dying though. Before Alpha could deliver the final blow to Grey Raven, Luna steps forward and halts Alpha's attack. Luna is the younger sister of Lucia and is responsible for turning the original Lucia into an Ascendant, as she is an Ascendant herself. She may in fact be the first Ascendant to ever appear in the world. So as Lucia is on the ground dying, Luna offers her a chance of rebirth. Alpha tries to interject, saying that she offered her the chance and she rejected it. But Luna merely pleads that she be given the chance to offer her the chance as well, as she does not want to see either of her sisters die, whether it's the real one or a copy. Luna reaches inside her and pulls out a small red cube. This cube is a pure concentration of the punishing virus. But before Luna can proceed any further, they are interrupted. A barrage of javelins come hailing down from the sky above them, forcing Alpha and Luna to step back. Now that an opening has been made, Grey Raven take that opportunity to retreat and hopefully get Lucia help in time. While retreating, the Commandant thanks their saviors, to which they reply that they're just returning a favor and that they'll take care of things from here on out. Grey Raven successfully met up with the support force. Seeing how many casualties Alpha has caused by herself, Bridget is actually surprised that they survived the encounter. They load Lucia up on a truck and they take off. With their team member now out of action, Grey Raven wonders what they're going to do from here on out. Until a familiar voice pops up. It's in fact Ayla, a construct that they helped out in the past. The team wonders why she's there, and she explains to the team that Hassan called out a call to arms, and that even though she's not a combatant, she still wants to be a part of this. Ayla reaches into her backpack and pulls out a small device. It happens to be a type of communicator, a specialized one, seeing as the entire city is covered within a signal jammer. This device is able to break through it, and Hassan is able to contact Grey Raven through it. He has new orders for them. One of the Ascendants, named Gabriel, launched a surprise assault on the light barrier, and he needs Grey Raven to go and intercept him. He again reaffirms how important it is to keep the Gestalt system away from the Ascendants. The team understands, and they get ready to move out. That's when Liv suddenly inquires about the people who saved them on the bridge, to which Hassan responds they are the fruits of our labor, before ending the communication. Back at the bridge, we get to see the saviors of Grey Raven, who happen to be the Forest Guard, the human-animal hybrid constructs. At first, it was just the Forest Guard themselves, but then Rosetta, who happens to be the leader of the Forest Guard, suddenly appears. She was restored to full combat functionality by Nikolai and a group of scientists in secret. As much as the Forest Guard want to help defeat Alpha, Rosetta reassures them that she will be the one to do it, and that the rest of them need to go and help in other sectors. Rosetta is the only one capable to stand a chance against Alpha. Seeing gold particles come from Rosetta's frame, they understand that she has an ace up her sleeve, so they do as she commands and retreat. Now alone, Rosetta can now finally settle the score between her and Alpha from their last encounter. This mission sucked, by the way. With loud clangs and sparks flying everywhere, the two are engaged in heated battle. See, Rosetta's fighting style revolves around her charging in, doing as much damage as she can, and backing away, in order to find another opening and charge back in for another attack. However, this time though, she forgoes that entire strategy altogether and just goes full-on assault, never letting up and always catching up to Alpha every time she tried to back up to get some space. However, Alpha notices some pauses between certain attacks and uses that opportunity to strike at Rosetta. She waits for that pause, then thrusts her sword towards Rosetta's torso, piercing her. But before Alpha could pull out her sword, Rosetta grabs it with her hands. She tells Alpha that this will be the end for her. The golden particles seen around Rosetta earlier start fusing together and start building up a massive amount of energy within her. Luna, realizing what's about to happen, orders Alpha to let go of her sword to retreat. However, Alpha ignores her warning and decides to face her final attack head-on. Rosetta gives Nicola the order, and they detonate the massive energy stored within her. The entire area is covered in a blindingly white light that engulfs everything. At an unknown location far away, Lucia wakes up. She's alive, thankfully, but is disappointed that she lost again to Alpha. The other members of Grey Raven are fine for now. However, Lucia wants to desperately get back to them and rejoin the fight. However, her frame is too badly damaged. There is no way they could have it repaired for her to use it in time. However, Asimov has another frame for Lucia, a new frame that has data from Alpha stored within it. A frame that has much higher capabilities than any other that Lucia has ever used up until this point. However, due to it containing data from Alpha, they have no idea what would happen if Lucia tried using it. In order to utilize the frame's maximum potential, Lucia will have to undergo a full initialization. To those who don't know, an initialization is essentially a factory reset. Because currently, Lucia can use the frame, but it'll be preloaded with memories and abilities that she could technically use, but it's gonna be kind of like operating in like third person, so to speak. So she doesn't have full control over everything. And that in turn is gonna hold her back. However, initialization will allow Lucia to fully utilize everything within that frame as if it was hers, but at a great cost, at the cost of her own memories. So essentially, initialization is wiping your memories and reinstalling your brain into a brand new body, a body that you can now fully control. In the world of punishing Grey Raven into constructs, this is the equivalent of committing suicide, because you will no longer be yourself. Your memories, your conscious, your personality, all of that will be wiped away and overwritten. With everything laid out in front of Lucia, she has to make an irreversible choice. Back in Kowloong, Team Strikehawk is near the light barrier. They received word that Lucia was heavily damaged in battle and had to retreat for medical aid. However, Lucia is now patched up and is now combat ready. She is on her way to rejoin with Grey Raven that have infiltrated the light barrier a while ago, but needs Team Strikehawk to create an opening for her somehow within the light barrier for her to slip in. Kamui tries asking some of the soldiers that he helped save earlier on any possible way to get in. Despite getting help from Team Strikehawk, the Kowloong soldiers are still dedicated to their leader. However, they speak so loudly about how you could potentially get into the light barrier, so loudly in fact that Team Strikehawk overhears them, and learn that using explosives will help create cracks within the wall. So off they go. Team Strikehawk were successful in using explosives to create a small crack into the light barrier. Unfortunately though, the crack seemed to start repairing itself almost immediately. The explosives that they used were just not enough to create a big enough impact. So before the light barrier fully seals up the hole that they made, Kamui, like the absolute mad lad that he is, jumps in and physically holds the barrier open with his body. As stupid of an idea as that was, Crom has no choice but to hop in and help Kamui, because he knows that Kamui alone won't be able to hold that barrier open for long just by himself. As the two hold the barrier open, it slowly starts to close in on them, slowly squishing them together. Not only that, but the light barrier also physically hurts anyone who touches it. So as the barrier closes in on them, it's slowly tearing away their clothes, then their synthetic skin, and then the machinery underneath. Sparks and vital fluid are flying everywhere, but they're doing their damnedest to keep that hole open. Back at the Kowloong Tower, Commandant reaches the top in order to try to call for reinforcements. However, he was sent flying and caught off guard by Q, who managed to slip by his team and was able to catch up to him very quickly. Before Q could strike down Commandant with her blade, she suddenly stopped. Looking up, Commandant sees a familiar figure covered in black and red. It was Lucia, now inhabiting a brand new frame. A frame that she calls Plume. Q, who is now wondering who stands before her, Huyaxu informs Q that this is Lucia, however, she's still going through the initialization process for her new frame. Commandant, understanding what this means, knows that she's slowly losing her memories. She explains that most of her memories are gone, and that the only ones that remain are practically combat-oriented. Q is confused and upset, wondering if there is something so valuable that she's willing to essentially commit suicide in order to protect it. But Lucia's rebuttal is that she's not committing suicide, rather, she's being reborn. In the heat of the moment, Q reveals that the entire incident with the punishing virus is nothing but a means to an end, an era to humanity that is destined to die. However, due to the unwillingness of humanity going extinct, they are doing nothing but prolonging this process. So what Q decided to do is to gather up a bunch of relics of their time on Earth, utilize the Gestalt system to hack Babylonia, causing it to crash into the Earth. And with the sheer mass and volume of such a structure colliding with the Earth, it will spell nothing but doom for everything that's living on it. However, Q only intends for Kowloong to be the only thing remaining on this planet, so that if any other life happened to stumble upon Earth, they will only get to see what Kowloong had to offer. This city is a testament and preservation of humanity that went extinct long after the fact. However, Commandant and Grey Raven believe in a future that they can survive and thrive. And so, while finishing the initialization process, Plume and Q duke it out. And for the very first time in this game, we actually get a full-blown in-game animated cutscene. So instead of talking over it, I'm just going to allow you guys to just watch it and enjoy without my interjection.
消えません。みんなが覚えているあなたも。この戦い、一緒に勝ちましょう。指揮官。
この機体は最終調整を済ませていない。後からこれらのデータを読み込んだとしても、お前にとっては別人格も当然だろう。
つまりこの戦いの最後には私は私でなくなる。
After unlocking her full potential and successfully defeating Q, Lucia thinks to herself about her feelings about Commandant and their journey up until this point. She expresses regret about not being and acting on her true feelings, and grow into a Lucia that Commandant will admire more. Resting against Commandant's back, the group look upon the tattered city that lay before them. Such a large battle with the Ascendants, so much chaos and destruction. However, today ended in a bitter defeat. The Ascendants managed to steal the Gestalt system that Q had hidden away. Both Babylonia and Kowloong suffered many casualties during the war. Lucia wonders what the Ascendants will plan to do now that they have Huyaxu in their hands. But furthermore, the initialization process is nearing its completion. She expresses fear of how long it'll take before the next Lucia will become her again. She recalls her earliest memories with Commandant when she first met him, how she was kind of like a puppet. She will essentially be like that again, but hopefully she might be a much different person this time around. She ultimately wishes to be a Lucia that was a bit more outgoing and upfront about her feelings. Someone who expressed more joy and happiness openly, and is able to get along with everybody. She's scared, but hopeful, because she has Commandant by her side. So perhaps having her memory wiped isn't so bad after all. She closes her eyes and tells Commandant that she'll see him soon, to which Commandant replies the same to her. Her conscience fades, and the remaining parts of her memories plunges into the abyss. What will become of Lucia when she finally awakes? What will she be reborn into? Only time will tell. Welcome everybody to our brand new hottest event, Grand Blue. Depression sucks, so now's the right time to bring in the motherfucking beach episode. Oh, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. The motherfucking beach episode is upon us. We have the latest and hottest coatings for all your favorite frames. We got skins for the mommy. We got skins for the Dami. We even got skins for that angry chihuahua thing. A brand new fully modeled theme park that includes attractions. We also have this big dumb shark. Enjoy fighting this stupid motherfucker. So much to do and so much to see in our upcoming event, Grand Blue. Hope to see you guys there.